I call this meeting of the Trading Card Preservation Society to order. In attendance tonight, we have Matt F. and Dave the Cardboard Junkie.
Hello.
Our topics tonight include the return of Barry Bonds to baseball cards, very old stickers found in 2014 Top Supreme, the problem of buying cards sight unseen. In pop culture, we have Marvel's Phase 3 films have been announced. We'll talk about Garbage Pail Kids and Doctor Who cards. And as always, we'll have our release calendar and question and answer. So let's begin. Dave, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a eventful couple of weeks since our last recording session. Just actually got back from seeing Big Hero 6, nice new Disney film with big fat robot that fights evil, and there's a little kid, and it's your typical Disney film. You know, there's this angsty kid, and immediately everyone he loves gets killed off, and he has adventures and is redeemed, and it's very heartwarming. It's got all the Disney tropes in it.
Is it in the
If you
future?
like Disney-ish, I think it's kind of in a Blade Runner-y kind of
Yeah.
future
Oh, really?
because
There you go.
the town he lives in is San Fran Tokyo or something like
Oh,
that,
really?
which is San Francisco, obviously, but there's all sorts of Japanese influences
Yeah.
everywhere. So, but it's got some great art design. The visuals are fantastic. There's scene where they're flying around the city, and it's just gorgeous. You've got all the heartwarming crap that's in every Disney film, and
Yeah.
I think Disney and Pixar are trying to outdo each other on who can make the audience cry. So you've got those moments too.
It looks a little bit
Uh,
like, did you see Wreck It Ralph? I like that one. I enjoyed
yes,
that. Yeah.
it's similar to that. It's the art design is obviously different
Yeah.
because this is a anime superhero type of movie, and Wreck It Ralph is a love letter to old video
Yeah.
games. But it is a similar sort of feel to it. Lots of characters, well designed characters. They all have sort of a personality to them, and stay through the credits. So,
No, okay.
which is which is obvious in most new movies nowadays, especially superhero movies. But yeah, stay through the credits.
And since our last recording session, we've met up a couple times at card shows, but this last card show that came into town, called Sports Memories. Um, it's a vintage card show. We went separately. We ended up going at different times, and basically, it's a guy named Roger in this company called Sports Memories, and he has a lot of great vintage cards. Um, Many out of my price range. This is my first time going, and it was me and, like, I had joked to you. I said it was sort of like a card show for older gentlemen with money. um,
Yes, this is a high
and
roller show.
Yes, high rollers definitely. I was the youngest in there by easily 25 years when I was there,
Oh yes.
and I stuck to the vintage cheap box, the non-sports box, and the ones that have been the cards that have been through the ringer. But I know you've been there. I mean, he when I mentioned your name and he know who you were. So props to that, I
Cool.
guess. But this is this one of your favorite shows?
This may be my favorite show just
Hmm.
because it's not just the cards. The cards themselves, it's more like a museum of
Hmm.
baseball
Yeah,
cards than a show. You've got stuff going back to Old Judge, Ginter from the 1800s, turkey red cabinets, and not just
yeah,
a turkey red cabinet, like a cabinet full of turkey red cabinets. Um, Gouty cards from the 30s, Tops cards from the 50s, just all sorts of crazy, old, expensive stuff that you normally wouldn't see.
Hmm.
And along with that, he has boxes of commons. If you're working on sets, you have a goodie box full of bargains, which is what we mostly hit
Yeah.
that day. And I've been going to this guy's shows, I don't know, 6, 7 years now.
Hmm.
And I may have actually, I can't confirm this, and I keep forgetting to ask him, but about 12 years ago, I used to travel a lot for business. And one weekend, or 1 week, I was in Oklahoma City for business, and I went to a card shop that was basically somebody's house, um,
Yeah.
but there was all kinds of crazy, amazing stuff in there too. And that, I want to say it was Roger. It might just be my mind playing tricks on me, but it's Oklahoma
Yeah.
and it's amazing cards, so I think I just associated it with Roger, whether it is or not. The one card I remember from there is don't remember which product, but it was a Donruss product from the late '90s that was dual sided. I think it had Hank Aaron autograph on one side and Andre Jones autograph on the other. Uh, that card always stuck with me, but there was all kinds of stuff in this dude's house. But with Roger, he hits all the major card shows on the
Hmm.
East Coast, and he comes to Atlanta 2, 3 times a year, and it's always a fun show. Just even if you only have $20 in your pocket, just to go look at everything and to hear all his regulars show up with all their stories. There's this one guy that's there every time named Jack, who'll talk your ear off. He's worth the price of admission by himself.
Yeah. When the thing I posted on my blog or on maybe on Twitter, I can't remember. There was he had uncut, literally uncut, since most kids just cut out and post serial cards. It was an uncut sheet of those post serial cards from the '60s I'd never seen intact. Um, yeah, I've been to the National Card Show a couple times, but it was neat. It was like your own little national that you'll see stuff you've never seen in person. And it's just a guy. I don't know how he brings it all in by van or whatever, but
I think
uh,
he has a van he runs around,
yeah,
and he doesn't fly it out. I think he
no,
drives.
yeah. He said he was going to be there every 3 or so months back to Atlanta. So um, I know you
Yeah, it's
jokingly
usually
said we should interview him, but I think that's a good idea.
yeah. He'll be back usually February,
Hmm.
uh, and it's every 3, 4 months like clockwork. So he'll be back. So what'd you get at the show?
I bought some. You definitely have to go through the commons because
Yes,
he'll have stuff that's marked for free
yes.
with purchase, free with $20 purchase, as it goes. So um, I mainly went through the non-sport stuff, and I bought some of the 1966 Batman
Very good.
um, set. That was the main thing. Couple dinged Packer cards from the '60s. Um, I haven't really written the post about my finds yet for that one, but did you get anything particularly memorable?
Yeah, I had a very good show. I usually go in with a game plan. Uh,
Oh
number
yeah.
number one is I look for a 1953 tops card that I don't have, which is getting tougher and tougher in my price range. Did not get one of
Yeah.
those, but uh, he had a whole box full of 1954 through 56 tops cards that he couldn't squeeze into the bargain boxes that were priced $1 to $3. And I picked
Hmm.
up 14 cards for my 55 and 56 sets. I officially passed 50% on my 55 set, so that's kind of a
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of a milestone. Um, Another thing which was pretty awesome is that he had quite a few 1972 Topps High Series in the bargain box for $2
Yeah.
a throw. I picked up a couple of those. Would have gotten more, but I found it's not really a white whale, but it's a damn shark for if anything. Card I've been looking for a while. 1958 Topps set has some combo cards in them, and
Sure.
I
Yeah.
include those combo cards in my team sets. In my Braves team sets, if there's a Braves player on it, it's going in the team set. I've even got a
Yeah.
1961 checklist that just has an action shot that happens to have a Braves player in it. But one of the combo cards from the 58 set is Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron
Oh
from
yeah.
the 57 World Series. And I thought I would never, ever, ever find that card for under about $7,500. And it was in the bargain bin and it was in my price range as long as I put some stuff back. And a few 56 cards got put back, a few of those 72
Yeah.
tops got put back, but that came home.
It's a slightly better combo than Hank Aaron and Andrew
Yeah,
Jones. So.
just a little bit, just slightly. But and I even came out of the show with a non-sports cards. I always try to pick up at least one, just for
Yeah.
fun. And I found an old, I believe it's 1963 Topps um, Midgie card. It's got the Wolfman on the front,
Oh.
and it was one of their monster movie series
Hmm.
where they had a picture of a Universal monster on the front with a funny caption underneath.
Yeah.
And this one has the Wolfman who's foaming at the mouth, and the caption is my ice cream melted."
Oh
And
gosh.
there's an equally bad joke on the back, and just with me obsessed with monster movies, right?
Yeah, he did have a lot of Zorro cards. I remember when I was flipping through. I've never gotten into the 50 Zorro, but he had a lot of them.
Yeah, he had a lot of those. He had a bunch of Green Hornet at one point, but somebody cleaned him out.
Yeah.
I was buying 1953 Topps World of Wheels cards from him. I'd buy two or three every time I was there, but then somebody cleaned him out.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of new stuff. Every time you go, there's new stuff in that bargain bin, and it kind of
Hmm.
rotates around. This time, there's a lot more old celebrity cards from the 50s and early 60s that were kind of
Yeah.
fun looking through. But yeah, a lot of Zorros. I actually bought one of those a couple of shows ago. I've got one of each of the 66 Batman uh,
Hmm.
cards, like the ones you got. I think there are four different series, and I just got a type.
Yeah. The black Batman logo, the red
Yeah,
one, blue one. Yeah.
black, red,
So
blue, and then there's one series that was live action
yes. Yep.
movie. I think I got a Catwoman. So, but yeah, it's a great show. It's fun, and even if you aren't one of the high rollers, it's fun to find interesting things in that bargain box. Because I brought my son with me, and he had some birthday money, um, and he actually found the steal of the show, which was a 1965. You know those gold All Star cards,
Yes. Sure. They're
insert
like
cards.
outlines. They're
Yeah,
like, what do you call
they're like
them?
red or blue, and they kind of sort of look
Profile.
like
Yeah.
Hall of Fame plaques, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Found a Mickey Mantle for $1.
Wow.
Yeah, so my son with the eye, vintage mantle for $1. I mean, where are you gonna
Did
find
he
that?
appreciate it? I mean, did he know what he had, or?
I think he likes those cards.
Yeah.
because he's actually picked out one of those before, and that was in a little pile that he picked. And I said, "You don't have enough money to buy all of them, but I suggest you buy this one."
Yes. Since the last time we talked to, you've had a chance to, well, in our last episode, we talked about the Tops Update release, and you've had a chance to buy some.
Yeah, I
Um,
finally picked up a couple of rack packs. Got these from Target. I usually get racks from Target for Topps cards because Walmart, I think they include two or three blue parallel cards in all of their rack packs. Target doesn't do that, and I don't really care about the parallels. I just want the base cards mostly.
yeah.
So I get them from Target. The other interesting thing is Walmart's rack packs are still two separate pockets of 18 cards each. Target has streamlined their packaging a little bit, so it's just one brick of 36 cards. I thought that was kind of interesting, seeing the different strategies for Target and Walmart in their packaging.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
But um, so I got two packs. I've got them in hand right now. Was generally pleased with the set. There are a lot of interesting photos in the set. At least enough interesting photos to make you forget about all the generic, dude at bat, a pitcher in wind up
Hmm. Yeah.
photos. I'm looking at Jason Giambi here, and he's screaming bloody murder about something with his uh, jersey halfway open. Jake Peavy's doing a little kooky dance on the mound. Um, Cole Figueroa is getting a big tub of very green looking Gatorade dumped on his head. Lots of decent photos and fun photos. Some of the All Star photos they range either from interesting to kind of boring, but
Yeah.
I mean you've got 330 cards. Every one isn't going to be uh, brilliant, but every once in a while you'll get a shot of Kurt Suzuki tagging out um, some dude at the plate in a horizontal card. Uh, it's a decent looking set, and I finally got to see the numbering weirdness on the back, which was kind of
Oh yeah.
amusing because the cards are numbered uh, in the top right corner if you're
Hmm.
looking at if you're reading the card. Um, Top right corner, it's got the US and then dash and then the number. That's the way it is on. It looks like 2/3 of the cards that I have. Then there are some cards that have US above the card number,
Right. Yeah.
which I think that looks fantastic. I hope they do that next year instead of the US dash because the card number is just the font on the number is bigger and you don't have the US in front of it, so it's easier to read. And I'm kind of a stickler with card numbers.
Yeah.
Uh, and I really like that, and I hope they do that next year instead of uh, doing the US dash. And then there's Marcus Stroman, who's got the position of pitcher in the top right corner,
In the right.
and
Yeah.
the US 35 is underneath the swoosh design. So that's in a completely different location from everything else, and I don't even know what happened there. Uh, Conspiracy theory is they're using like Microsoft Word or something to lay all this stuff out, and I
Nah.
guess Microsoft.
My God.
I guess Word did to Tops what it always does to me when I'm trying to
Yeah. Right.
format a document, and just kind of pushed everything over to the next line. And so in some cases it gave us the cool numbers with the U.S. on top of the number, and in some cases it just plopped it underneath the swoosh. But I don't know what was going on there, but it's kind of amusing uh, in a lol
Right.
tops sort of way. And there are a couple of cards that were
Hmm.
misnumbered. So there's two card numbers of something, and it's missing another card number, which a lot of people are raving about that on Twitter.
I mean,
But you know
that's part of the
that's
fun.
happened before. It happens
I
every
mean, if
once in a
Tops doesn't,
while.
I mean,
Yeah,
Tops Tops has used the wrong photo of players. They've used
yeah,
non-players.
yeah. That's in there too. I got out of my two rack
Yeah.
packs, I got five doubles, which that always happens, and it drives me crazy. Every year, I know the first two packs I get are gonna have a bunch of doubles. I think I actually got off easy with only five, but two of them were Tyler Pasternicki, which actually has a picture of Reed Johnson on it, so which is has been a little buzz within the Braves fans. But looking at some of these inserts in hand, the power players are kind of interesting. They kind of look like a '90s
Hmm.
design with a bunch of holofoil, and there's a funky, swirly, I don't know, almost pixely design behind the dude. I got one of the All Star Access retail exclusive inserts, and those are, I don't know, they don't look bad. They're kind of boring. Fond farewell card of Mariano Rivera, which is nice, simple design. I'm not sure what is going to be in that series unless it's
Yeah, I
just
think so.
Mariano. Uh, and a couple of the die cut 1989 cards. I don't know what they were thinking with these. I can't decide if they're hideous or if they're just so bad that they've.
I'm a sucker for pretty much anything die cut.
Yeah, just such a goofy die cut. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just got the round corner up at the top left, and then the swoosh down at the bottom. And it's
Yeah.
why do you do that?
Yeah.
So, and the sad card out of the pack, I got an Oscar Taveras,
Oh, you did.
the Future Is Now card, which is that
Wow.
that made me sad.
Yeah, that's sad.
So, but overall, it's tops. It looks good. I like it. But that's the other thing I've been doing the past 2 weeks is trying to organize all my junk. Getting the office down in the basement cleaned up a little bit, which is right now more or less playing Tetris with card boxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just well, we need to move this shelf, so let's move all the card boxes over here, and then move the shelf, and then move them all back, and uh, it's become a chore. But I have gotten finally all of my 2008 to 2013 top sets sorted, um, and in that uh, chore, I've learned that I actually really like 2012 tops.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
I like that Hindenburg design, and the card number on the back is one of the best I've seen in the past decade. It's very easy to read. It doesn't have the font issues that have plagued a lot of top sets. It's I don't know. I can't remember what the gimmick was in that set. Wasn't there some sort of super short printed? Was that Harper? I don't remember.
2012. Yeah, I
I
think
was
that's.
angry at him for some reason, but I can't remember why I was angry at him, and I just really like the look of the set.
with
So
with a little bit of time, it all fades away. Yeah.
yeah,
I think you're right. I think that's the 660 one.
yeah, the Bryce Harper card with six or seven different versions from factory sets and from super short printed and everything else. But I like the rest of the set. I don't like Bryce Harper anyway, so why should I be mad at that card?
Right. Yeah. In podcast related news, you can now find the Trading Card Preservation Society on iTunes. And so you can, I think both of our blogs have posts or links to it where you can sort of find it. Otherwise, just go to iTunes and search us, and you can subscribe. Um, we're in the games and hobbies section, so I don't think we're ever destined, no matter how popular we are in the baseball card or trading card world. We're in the same category as video game podcasts, and so um, we just can't compete. Maybe if it was 1990 and we were doing this, we could get enough ears. But um, well, we're on iTunes now, which hopefully will make it easier to subscribe and download. And um, in the future, hopefully, we'll also be on Stitcher if you use that too. Okay, so our first story, and this when we put this show together, we didn't have a really huge, groundbreaking story, but this is sort of an interesting one. Barry Bonds, I don't acknowledge him as the home run king, but some people do. He is returning to baseball cards for the first time in, I think, 7 years. Yeah, 2007 was the last time. Um, not in a tops set, but rather a Panini uh, National Treasures, which I have a sneaking suspicion neither of us have ever opened a box of that.
No, I've never. I'm not sure if I've actually had one of those cards in hand before.
Right, exactly. This is
But
the
hey,
ultra, ultra, ultra high end baseball card set. Um, and he has apparently signed autographs um, for the set. Um, it's interesting in a sort of a news sort of way, but personally, I could I could care less. I guess I could not care less. Um, as a Braves fan, I imagine you have no goodwill feeling towards Barry Bonds.
my thoughts on Barry are complex. I mean, I remember 1991 where we're booing the hell out of him in the National League Championship Series. And we just hated Barry because he was Barry, not
Mm-hmm.
because he was a home run king or whatever.
Right.
So I've hated Barry for so long that when he finally got around to the home run chase and everyone just started dumping on Barry, that I kind of turned around and started not really liking him but sympathizing with him
Oh, really?
because one thing as a Braves fan who grew up idolizing Hank Aaron, one of the first things you learn about Hank Aaron is the home run chase. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you start reading about the home run chase, you hear about all the death threats and all the horrible racist nonsense that was thrown his way for years. And
Right.
he had to go a whole off season hearing about that because he ended the season one home run behind in '73. And once people started doing that, not to the racist extent, but everybody hated Barry because of the steroids, not because of his skin color. At least most people. Uh, Hearing the same stuff happen to Barry kind of made me sympathize with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll joke about the real home run king, but the numbers don't lie. Barry Bonds hit more home runs than Hank Aaron. Uh, and it's really freaking hard to hit that many home runs, period. Whether you're juiced up, whether you're under pressure, whether whatever. So I don't really like Barry, but I sympathize with him a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more than I did. And I this is a rant for another time, but honestly, I think he gets too much crap these days. What's done is done. His career's over. It probably ended a couple years too soon. Um, you know, let's enjoy Barry Bonds cards, whether they're in an old pack of 87 tops or in a. I don't even know how much National Treasures a
Several
pack of,
hundred,
yeah, so
easily several hundred.
more than I can afford
Yeah.
on cards in a month, let alone on one pack. So just enjoy it for what it is. If you don't like them, don't collect them.
Can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
Um,
So, but Hall of Fame voting is coming up next month, and I'm sure I'll have a nice angry rant about that. But I can't get mad about Barry in a trading card
yeah.
set, especially one I'll never see.
Another story about autographs that you may not expect to find in products. Um, Topps Supreme 2014 recently came out. This would have been a few weeks ago. And collectors were surprised to find uh, autographs from Dodger great Johnny Padres in the set. Um, and mainly because he's been dead for about 6 years. And it's sort of really, I always sort of joke at the idea of a sticker dump, but I mean, I don't know what, why they waited this long to start using them. You would think they'd sort of want to try to capitalize on, sort of right after he passed away. I personally bought an autograph, a sweet spot autograph of his soon after. Um, I don't know. We're going to talk about the Supreme set in more detail later, but what are your thoughts on that? What do you think is just cleaning out the set
Yeah,
or
I'm
their
not
stash?
sure. I'm not sure what their thought process was on that either. I think I have a Johnny Padres autograph from one of the Heritage or Archive sets back in the early 2000s. I think it was a sticker autograph. I need to dig it up and double check it. But why wait? How long? 6 years?
6 years.
Yeah,
I remember writing
and to
about it.
just throw it randomly in a set of for Supreme, I could understand it if it was, maybe the an anniversary of the Dodgers World Series win, or
yeah.
on a milestone birthday or something. But I, I guess they found a sheet in the archive somewhere, or they
Yeah,
just
I
have.
guess.
I mean, I know they have
It
Stan
just seems
Musial
like
autographs
yeah.
stacked up, so maybe they've just got those stashed for later, because you're gonna eventually uh, they're they're going to be selling autographs in card sets, especially their high end stuff, for a long time. So maybe they've got a sticker vault somewhere.
I guess. It seems like they could just do more with it rather than just sort of include it in a set that's literally just two cards.
Yeah,
You buy a box, you get two autographs basically, sometimes three. I don't know. It just sort of is gonna. I don't know. It's sort of like you have a national treasure sort of thing where who else has these autographs? Just
yeah.
you, and so you maybe could use it a little better.
Of course, that might be the exact right product to put it in, something high
No,
end,
maybe.
something that people would
Yeah.
want to chase. Because ghoulish as it is, deceased autographs are generally more pricey than uh, normal living autographs, unless it's for someone who signed everything they could get their hands on, which I'm not sure if Padres is one of those players or not. But uh, you know, something that they may just want to save for their high end stuff. If it was in Topps flagship, that would be really confusing. But
Yeah, that's
so I
true.
can I can actually kind of see it in Supreme, but still, hard to figure out the thought process with all this memorabilia stuff sometimes.
As sort of a segue into our next discussion, it's interesting to think that we don't sort of question that it's totally you know it's not these autographs are real. You know what I mean? Like we just sort of take for granted that Topps had these for 6 years and that they just sat on them. Um, Sort of segues into our next discussion about a vintage card dealer who basically sold fake cards, counterfeits, and then just you know wouldn't ship He'd sell the card on eBay, never ship the card, and it sounds like he would have many, many accounts um, selling cards that didn't exist. Um, the story we got here is from, I'll just read the first paragraph here. A federal judge sentenced a Pennsylvania man to nearly 3 years in prison on Monday for selling counterfeit baseball cards of Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, and others on an internet auction site. U.S. Circuit Court Judge Christopher Boyko sentenced Stephen Norris, 39, of Milton, Pennsylvania, to 32 months in prison after he pled guilty earlier this year to 3 counts of mail fraud. Judge also ordered Norris to pay restitution $49,660. This article comes from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and interesting that the National was in Cleveland this year. This is where the article that I found here is from as well. Um, I know we're not high roller collectors, you and I. But have you ever run into trouble with something like this, or buying cards like sort of sight unseen?
Yeah, I bought a bunch of older cards on eBay back in the day, including a lot of oddball stuff from the 30s and 40s. I'm pretty sure a couple of the cards I got were counterfeits. Um, but on the other hand, I never paid more than about $5-10 for anything. There is one. It's a old strip card from the 20s. I don't remember the exact set it was from, but I bought a Casey Stengel, I think a Brooklyn Dodger strip card from one of these old sets from the 20s, and I got it, and I'm 99% sure that it's totally fake.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look quite right, and the back has uh, it almost looks like somebody scrubbed it with, I don't know, a Brillo pad or something, or a wire brush to make it look old and like it was ripped off of an album or something. It just doesn't look right, and I don't really. I'm probably never going to sell it. I'm just going to keep it more as an oddity than anything. But I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure I've gotten at least one or two cards in my collection that aren't legit. Um, but then again, I'm a bottom feeder, so I didn't pay anything for most of them,
Yeah.
and it doesn't bother me that much. There's also one T206 card that I kind of look at funny that I bought off of eBay. One day
Oh yeah.
if I have the time and the money, I might get all this stuff authenticated. But for me, it's not a big problem. For people who spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on cards, it is a very big problem. I've actually seen a fake uh, Mantle rookie at Roger's show. He was talking about it, and he actually had one in hand uh, that somebody bought for big money, took it to Roger, and Roger pointed out, four things that were wrong with it immediately, and I think he bought it off him for $50, just out of pity. But he showed me that, and it was bad. I don't know if you follow Andy Broom on Twitter. He actually works for Beckett as a vintage grader, and he tweets out bad fakes every once in a while. And this had every bad fake telltale sign in the book on it. But sometimes it's fun to see those cards. One of my great regrets of things I passed up that I shouldn't have is back in Yahoo auctions one time. Somebody was selling Pete Rose rookie cards, but they weren't actual Pete Rose rookie cards. They were from a group of counterfeits that were
Oh.
found, I believe, in the 80s at some point. And the whole batch of them got took in as evidence into court, and they were all stamped with a big red ink on the back, counterfeit. And somebody got their hands on this fake Pete Rose rookie at one point and put him up on an auction site for I think $10 a pop, and I'm really regretting not getting one of those just for the novelty value. uh, but this is one of the one things that I do appreciate grading and authenticating for is these there's too much money running around in the memorabilia business, and whenever there's a lot of money floating around in something that's not really human necessity, uh, there's going to be shady characters trying to profit off of that. Just knowing that they can rip people off and probably get away with it if they're careful enough. These guys weren't careful enough and did some stupid things and got pinched, thankfully. But you hear stories. It's like every other national. There's a story about the FBI charging in and dragging away a dealer. So, and who was it? Bill Mastro, who was one of the uh, biggest names in the hobby. He got pinched for something. I don't remember what it was offhand, but uh, if you're spending a lot of money on a card, on a baseball card, on a piece of cardboard, you do need to know what you're doing, uh, deal with reputable people, see the card in hand, and get it authenticated if
Hmm.
possible. If you're going to spend $25,000 on a
Right.
baseball card, spend the 20, $50, whatever it is, to get the thing graded,
Right.
and so it's at least authentic.
Yeah, I can't imagine spending that much on a card that you haven't inspected yourself,
Yeah.
or through a third party or service like eBay or something. Um, I've bought some 1952 Topps number one Andy Pafkos, but those were so dinged up. You would never make a counterfeit in that horrible condition. Um,
That's the thing though. That's actually become a strategy, especially with some of the bigger
yeah.
cards. I mean, I'm not sure if they do it with a Pafco, but that was what happened with that mantle card. They beat it up so badly that
Hmm.
you know the buyer would think, well, who would counterfeit that? But you know, a 52 mantle in any condition is going to run a pretty penny. So yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, my story. I don't know if it was maybe just stupidity on my part and maybe the seller's part. Um, I bought a you know one of these 50s 1950s sets where cards came in cookie wrappers. So there's a series of cards by Johnston Cookies,
Yes.
and so I bought an Andy Pafko thinking it was original, um, and I believed it was original until I happened to find an original at a card show, and I was like, "Whoa, this is! I do not own an original. Um, I own a reprint, and but the reprint is not marked as a reprint." And so I can't say 100% that the seller knew what the hell was going on either, but um, I was, I guess, sort of fooled. I don't know. It wasn't that much, but um, at least we figured it out in the end.
Yeah, I've got a few of those Johnston cookies. They're actually on the same kind of stock as the 50s Tops or Bowman.
Yes,
And
exactly. I didn't know that.
the other thing with Milwaukee Braves cards from the 50s is one of the big reprinters. I think Larry Frisch cards. They're actually from Milwaukee, and they did a lot of oddball Brave set. Um,
Yeah.
I know I have a Lake to Lake set, I believe, from the 54 or so. Um, that is a reprint set. I haven't actually seen one of the real cards from that set, but they are on different stock. They usually say reprint, but sometimes it's in very small print. And some of these sets are just so oddball that you even honest sellers really don't know what the heck it is.
Right. So another, you know, we're sort of taking a sad, depressive turn here today in our podcast. But the last news story today is a court case is making its way through the legal system. Basically, the story is that in 2009, a continental flight crashed. Um, and basically, unfortunately, it landed on a person's house, and a gentleman named Douglas Walensky was killed in the crash. I mean, he wasn't on the flight, but he was killed when the plane crashed on the ground. And apparently, he had a massive baseball card collection, and particularly of Mickey Mantle rookies, um, which as the court documents, basically the his loved ones are filing a lawsuit against the airline for damages and the loss of all this valuable memorabilia. And they say the collection was over $2.4 million. Um, it sort of makes you take a we all have all the we collect everything and we try to store it as best we can, but sometimes there are just acts of God that just you can't prevent. You can have all the insurance, you can insure your collection all you want, but sometimes it's just not it's nothing's, I guess, there's nothing, uh you can't cover every base is what I guess I'm trying to say. um have you ever had any sort of bad scenarios with damaging cards or anything like that, Dave?
The worst car disaster I ever had, which is not even kind of on the same level as a plane crash. I think it was about, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago. The coils on our air conditioner started freezing up a little bit, which caused it to leak some moisture down in our basement that we didn't
Yeah.
catch for a while, which I had some cards stored in the room right next to our AC unit. Uh, and the carpet in that room got just slightly damp. And unbeknownst to me, I had my box of 1991 through I think 1998 Fleer Ultra cards that should have been up on a shelf, but it was actually on the floor,
Hmm.
and had no idea the carpet was moist, but the cardboard box was a monster box that it was stored in. Did know, and the bottom of the box became just slightly damp.
Yeah.
And you know those 90s cards with UV coating like to stick together anyway? You get them moist and they become a brick. So most of my Fleer Ultra collection is now bricked. But I
Oh
had,
no.
I at least up to about 97, 98 or so. Uh,
Yeah.
but I had all the rookies and inserts and anything that was booked over a buck. I had in plastic sleeves anyway. So all
Hmm.
the good cards are all right. It's all the commons are now bricked.
Yeah.
But that was my only catastrophe, and that was due to my own stupidity. So I can't really complain.
Hmm.
I mean, I've had minor tragedies where I'm taking an old vintage card out of a team bag that was either stored in or shipped in from eBay, and the sticky on the team bag adheres itself to the card and rips off
Yeah.
some of the. And I think that's happened to anybody who's bought
Oh, sure.
vintage cards over the internet through the mail. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really amazing how many cards are still out there, vintage cards at least, with all the stuff that could potentially happen to it. From your mom throwing them out is the common trope, or getting in a fire, or water damage, or tornado hits the house, or
Yeah.
paper drive, or You know,
Yeah, I've been lucky so far. I don't really have a sob story except just for my own personal damaging like the card myself. Like I literally I God, I get upset about just thinking what I did one time was I received a Mars Attack, uh, one of the vintage sets, the original set card in a plain white envelope. Um, and I, I was so pissed that it was in a plain white envelope. I was cutting it with the scissors, and the card had come out of the top loader, and so I trimmed I trimmed the card myself.
no.
Yeah, I mean those. Oh God, I just get so upset about it just thinking about it myself right now. Nothing on the scope of losing an entire you know 50 years of collecting in a horrible disaster. But
Yeah.
it's hard to keep pieces of paper in a good condition over many years.
Yep. Just got to do the best you can. I remember one time my vintage Braves binder had everything from 33 Gaudy up until about 69 tops. Um, I had kind of a office next to the kitchen, and I had the
Hmm.
binder on the floor stupidly, and my son dumped an entire kettle of water on top of the binder, uh, and didn't tell me about it
Yeah.
immediately until I found the puddle on the floor. But being in all the plastic sheets and with all the protection on it, nothing really happened. And plus, I don't buy
Got hurt. Yeah.
gem mint stuff anyway, so hell, it probably cleaned the cards.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Ultra
Yes.
Pro. Sponsorship available if you want. Okay, so next we'll highlight some of the newer sets that are recently released. Um, we'll begin with 2014 Top Supreme, where again you can find your last chance to get new Johnny Padres cards. Um, Again, the set started with at about 80 to $90 a box. Um, you're going to get two cards in that. Uh, Typically, it's like a mix of maybe a veteran autograph and a newer player. Often the type of newer player that you probably aren't excited about pulling from an $80 or $90 box. Um, as I look now, the boxes are down to about $66, so they're inching closer to our price
Nope.
range, Dave. Now you're gonna find a lot of parallel autographs. They come in green, sepia, purple, blue, orange, red, black. Your printing plates, and then there's this new thing called the Supreme card, which is the basically the set's version of a superfractor or 101 called the Supreme. Interesting when I sort of looked around and I had no idea since didn't I don't live in Asia, but Topps put out Topps 2013 Supreme was just an Asian exclusive set, which was I don't know. I guess to see if it was going to be a success, to a trial run maybe. I don't know. Um, each autograph that you pull is going to be numbered 50 or less, so they're trying to um, you know give you some bang for your buck, I guess. But um, you're only going to get two cards. It is sort of fun to watch in a sort of sick sort of way on the internet or on YouTube, watching them break these things. But and a lot of them are interestingly die cut.
Yeah, high end. Yeah, high end breaks are always fun to watch just for
Yeah.
the high stakes. You're either gonna hear cheering or cussing.
Yeah, so you can certainly find deals. Maybe wait a little bit longer. Maybe they'll be down to $50 a box, maybe for Black Friday. Who knows? But I'm way more excited to talk about tech.
Yeah, Topps Tech
Tech,
for
excuse me. Topps High Tech.
yeah high tech. Yeah, Topps High Tech is the new product. I think it may have gotten pushed. I don't think it's out yet, but it will be out for Christmas. This is a new set based on the Topps Tech product from the late 90s. Um, it's going to be a high end set. It's Each box is one pack of 8 cards. I believe there's an autograph in every pack or box. There will be parallels, which I'll get into in a minute. And I think 6 base cards per set or per pack, which sounds like a lot, but there's quite a few cards in the set, and there's quite a few variations of every card. If you're not familiar with the original sets, the whole gimmick behind this product is it's actually a very, very nice looking set. It's printed on acetate stock. It's got all sorts of holographic shininess to it, and each card has a funky design in the background that looks really cool. Uh, each card also has a lot of variations on that design for every card. The original Topps Tech set, which I believe came out in 1998, was a 90 card set, but each card had 90 different designs that could be in the background. So uh, there are a lot of different ways to collect this set. You could go for cards 1 through 90. You could go for designs 1 through 90. You could just collect your favorite player and try to get every design. Uh, Very crazy, uh, crazy set as far as how many different variations were out there. You really could not collect every card with every design
No, yeah, it's
for the
impossible. Well,
original
maybe
one.
somebody did it, but
It's I mean, there might have been one guy who's just insane that pulled it off, but these were not, for the time, were not very cheap. They're about $5 or $6 a pack. You got 5 cards in a pack, and with all those different variations, it's just, yeah. But in the 1999 and 2000 sets, they toned it down a little bit, cut the size of the set, and cut especially the number of uh, variations you could pull. But it's still, that's the whole gimmick of the set. You've got a very good looking card, especially if you like the clear acetate uh, designs, with some funky multicolored holographic shiny designs in the background. And that's what this set looks to be. It's one of those uh, high concept, very frustrating for completist set collectors, um, which I'm not even sure how you'd even attempt to build a set like this with 6 cards per box, being a high end set. But I'm interested to see when this finally does release, what some of these cards
Mhm.
actually do look like in hand. Because if it's anything like the cards from the '90s, they are really gorgeous cards, especially if you have that shiny magpie collecting gene, where anything that
Yes.
shines and glitters and is different that you're just magically attracted to. So it's a. I'm not going to be buying any boxes, at least unless the price goes down a little bit as the months wear on. But if I see any of these cards in a
Yeah.
dollar box or hopefully a quarter box, yeah, I'll grab them.
I would love to see Topps Tech in a retail.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I think at this point, it would probably be cost prohibitive,
Right.
simply because this is this is probably not a cheap set to produce with the card stock and all the bells and whistles uh, to create those designs in acetate. So I don't think they could pull it off a retail set profitably, but it would be fun.
So I think it was the might have been like either the next day or 2 or 3 days after we recorded last time that Marvel announced the next round of superhero movies. Phase three. We're in phase two currently. I think we still have Avengers, Age of Ultron, and we have um, Ant Man to look forward to. And then they announced, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine more, including Captain America: Civil War, which is Captain America 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor, which I think sounds like it's going to be the last Thor. Ragnarok is the subtitle there. Black Panther, and then we start in with what I have really excited about, which is the Avengers Part 3, which will be subtitled, Infinity War Part 1. Then they're going to throw in a couple, Captain Marvel, which I think is going to be a female. I think that was confirmed. It's going to be a female Captain Marvel, and an Inhumans movie, and then finally wrapping this all up with Infinity War Part 2. Um, yeah, when can this get here? How soon can we see this?
Oh
I
yes,
guess we'll start. Is there one that catches your eye as what you're
uh,
most excited about?
Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
most definitely, because that's one of the. I'm not a big Marvel reader.
Mm-hmm.
With my comics, I tend to be a DC guy, but not for their Superman, Batman, whatever, which is fine.
Mm.
I enjoy those movies, but the DC stuff I like is all the weirdo stuff like the Vertigo titles,
Sure,
Sandman,
sure. Yeah.
Swamp Thing, and I really, really love the old House of Secrets horror comics that were. I've got a few from the 70s, I believe. That's the kind of stuff I liked. I'm not really into the superhero genre with DC and Marvel, although I gotta say, Marvel has done a very good job with this whole Marvel universe and tying all these movies in together and getting excellent casts to uh, to play these heroes. That's one of the reasons I'm really into the Doctor Strange movie because I believe Benedict Cumberbatch is uh, is signed.
Right.
It's no
Yep.
longer a rumor. So and I like him in Sherlock, and he makes a great dragon. And I think he fits very well with the Doctor Strange. Put a goatee or Fu Manchu or a goatee on him, and uh, big old cape, and let him go nuts.
Yeah, I love that they've totally gone, cosmic. You know what I mean? Like all
Yeah,
the stuff that you would never. I don't know if it's all because of the success of um, Guardians of the Galaxy. If they would have had the guts to do all this, like a
yeah,
Captain Marvel movie, I would never have imagined that that would be possible. Um, Even the Infinity War, I mean, not just I don't know if I can spoil a comic that's been out for 15 years or whatever, but I
go
mean
for it.
half it depends, I guess, which story they do. If they're really doing the Infinity War, I mean, it seems like they're going to have to do the Infinity Gauntlet story more than Infinity War, but I mean, half the Marvel universe gets vanishes, right? So,
Yeah,
um, they're going to have so many characters. It seems to if that's how they're going to do it. If they're going to be true to the original story, or do something slightly different, which is allowable, I guess. And it's just so. such a scale that if they could only work out a deal, just if Sony could give Spider-Man to Marvel, because he's like the logic one. I can understand the X-Men are sort of like a separate universe a little bit, um, and they can sort of they can exist in their own thing, but without Spider-Man, I don't know. It sort of may miss something, but maybe they can work out a deal. But we have to wait
But
till
yeah,
2019 to have this all
yeah,
end.
to
So
get all of them. Yeah, I got the rest of your decade planned out.
yes.
But yeah, I like how they're taking chances and they're doing different things
Hmm.
and being very successful with that. I mean, you got one of the biggest movies of the year. It stars a talking tree and a raccoon with a machine gun. So
Yeah.
hey, it's good to branch out in different things, see what happens. And Captain Marvel, I mean, that's just a thumb right in the eye to DC, who's too chicken shit to do a Wonder Woman movie, which would, if they did it right, would make mad bank. But you
Yeah.
know, hey, more power to them. Disney knows how to manage their properties, and they're doing a good job. So
So along the Marvel lines, tell me about these Garbage Pail Kids.
yes, just found out about these few days ago. Um, Garbage Pails Series 2 is out, and there are some variations in there of some parodies of Marvel characters. Uh, there are two different variations. They've apparently done this in previous Garbage Pail Kids sets, which I wasn't aware of.
Hmm.
One of them is art variations, where the cards have different style or different artwork from the normal cards. I believe they're short printed, and with these parodies on Marvel characters, they basically, a lot of those have alternate uniforms that that are used for the art cards. For example, the Spider-Man parody has Spidey in the black Venom outfit instead of the normal red and blue.
Hmm.
And what's the name of this dude? Eight Armand is for Spider-Man. Uh, the Iron Man character is in a garbage can. His name is Russ Ty. So, and Swiss Arnie is a parody on Wolverine, and he's basically got, instead of the knives coming out of his hands, he's got all sorts of Swiss Army knives and scissors and corkscrews. In the variation, he's all in black and has an eye patch. So, just uh, fun things from Tops. These are case hits, so they're like 1 in 192 packs. But thought it was fun that they were doing that. And in addition to the art variations, they have a few name variations. Um, and I was pleased to see these simply because these have a history in the Garbage Pail Kids sets of the past.
Hmm.
Um, if you're familiar with Garbage Pail Kids, each card has an A version and a B version. So you get to decide which bad pun you like best
Yes.
for each Garbage Pail Kids. Well, with this, there is a C variation. These are not quite as hard as the art variations. There's still 1 in 100 hobby packs. But this has an A name, a B name, and a C name. For example, the Wolverine has Swiss Arnie, Loaded Logan, and the C version variation is Howlin' James. Um, and this has actually happened in the past with original Garbage Pail Kids sets from the 80s. They weren't labeled as C, but there were quite a few cards that had a third name variation. I think the most infamous one is a Garbage Pail Kid that was basically a jigsaw puzzle, um, who had a couple of names used with it, but there was a third name called Reese Pieces that was pulled from production, I guess, because who is
Sure,
it?
yeah.
Hershey complained or something. But there are a couple of instances of third names, and I don't really like variations as a general rule, especially when they're extremely hard to get. But I think with a set like this, it's kind of clever and a little fun just to see some different things that actually have some basis in the original sets.
Yeah, I mentioned Marvel, but they also have the DC variations too. Like they have Flash and Wonder Woman and Green
Yeah,
Lantern.
there are a couple of. There's a Superman Batman
Hmm.
mashup that is either named Team Upton, Bruce Payne, or Crossover Kent. Uh, which the artwork is basically half of the dude is Superman, half of the dude is Batman, and Batman is chucking a batarang at the Superman half, and Superman is giving Batman a hot foot with his eyeball laser. So it's
Are you sure the Team Upton isn't a BJ Upton card?
I don't know, man. They're kind of playing like Garbage Pail Kids
Yeah,
right
right.
now, but
That's one thing just as a sort of a side note. I've seen so many Upton jerseys around Atlanta, way more than I ever thought. You know, I would ever see. But he's popular around the town, I would say.
yeah, Justin is more popular than BJ.
Yeah,
But when we got both players, we expected some production out of them.
that's true. I guess maybe I guess since you got both, that maybe that's why I'm seeing so many. It could be either one. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got two versions. You'll probably see more eights than twos, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's gonna end up getting traded to the Cubs or some AL team and lighten it up next
Yeah.
year. So
Sure. Comeback player of the comeback player of the year. Um,
absolutely.
so last time in the on the podcast, Dave talked about 1999 playoff momentum as a jokingly said longer than anyone in recorded history. And so tonight maybe Dave will talk about 2006 Alex Gordon Topps rookie card longer than anyone in recorded history, or not.
Now there's been some ink spilled on this card.
Yes.
um,
Well, the last time I recorded also was the Game 3 of the World Series, and of course Alex Gordon was the nearly saved the game for the Royals.
yes.
Do we send Alex in the inside the park home run? I wish they would have done it just to see what would have happened.
Yeah, would have been exciting.
Um, yeah, but the story of his rookie card is an interesting one, and definitely you're right. There was a lot written about it.
Yes. This is an interesting story just because of the whole background of what was going on in 2006. Um, 2005, there were four companies making baseball cards: Topps, Upper Deck, Donruss, and Fleer. Fleer was having financial problems, not because of their sports products, but from what I've heard, they had a lot of bad deals in the entertainment side, which actually caused them to go bankrupt, and they were bought up by Upper Deck. So right off the bat, we've got one less uh, manufacturer of baseball cards for 2006. Although Upper Deck used the name for a couple of years, and Fleer Ultra Hockey is actually back on the shelves. But 2005, Fleer kicked the bucket for all intents and purposes. The other thing that happened in 2006 is the baseball card license was changed drastically. Uh, Donruss got shut out, which caused a lot of people to get very angry. Um, I know of at least one baseball card shop owner that was very upset about this because Donruss products were selling well, and Donruss was kind of notorious back in the day for having loads of parallels all over the place, and a whole lot of low numbered parallels. Which, if you added up all the parallels, you got a high number. But a lot of the stuff that's going on, probably in Supreme, which you talked about earlier, everything is numbered under to 50. But how many different parallels are there? They all add up. So Donruss pioneered this, but due to some, I don't know, maybe some backdoor deal, they got left out in the cold in 2005. And so going into the 2006 baseball card year, you had Topps and you had Upper Deck with licenses. Along with the new license, there are new rules. In 2005, if you look through the sets, there are all sorts of minor leaguers with baseball cards in legit sets because everybody wants to have the rookie cards in their set. So Topps would load every set down with future stars and minor leaguers, and Upper Deck would have their minor league sets, and Bowman is always chock full of rookies. But in 2006, the rule came about that in order to be in a licensed trading card set, the player had to have made his debut in Major League Baseball before that set came out, which has the potential to cause some problems, and we found some problems really quick in 2006. So Topps puts out their flagship before the season kicks off every year, and this being the first year of the new rules, perhaps someone didn't read the fine print, perhaps someone wasn't thinking, perhaps someone thought, well, Alex Gordon is the biggest rookie prospect on the Royals. He'll probably be on the squad opening day. We can maybe get away with this. But for whatever reason, there was a rookie card for Alex Gordon in the 2006 Topps base set, which came out before the season officially opened. But Alex Gordon had never played a Major League Baseball game in by 2005, so he was not technically eligible for that set according to the new rules. Someone with Major League Baseball caught Topps doing this and said, "Hey, brand new rules. You know, these rules favor you. You've got the license. You need to adhere to them." So the cards for Alex Gordon were pulled from the set. At least they were mostly pulled from the set.
Right, mostly.
Mostly. So what had happened is people were opening up blasters of Topps cards and I believe these were mostly found in the Midwest. I think a lot even in Kansas City. People were opening up Tops blasters and pulling Alex Gordon cards when they were not supposed to be. Um, some of these cards were even had cutouts where the actual image of the card was die cut out of the middle, but somehow the border got packed out into cards, into card packs. So there's was not that many found. Once people learned about this, uh, there became a little bit of a run on Topps blasters because from all reports, that's where they were packed out in and sent to WalMarts, I believe. So people were snapping up all the blasters they could at Walmart, looking for these Alex Gordon cards. Then some of them started hitting eBay, which attracted the attention of some big whale collectors like Keith Olbermann, uh, who was actually reporting on all of this mess on whichever show he was on at the time. So Olbermann was buying up as many as he could find. The eBay auctions were going through the roof. Uh, this was a really hot card, but it wasn't even supposed to be packed out in the set, which causes a problem if you're actually collecting the set because this card is not supposed to exist, but it does exist. But you're not going to be able to find it unless you get extraordinarily lucky. So this was the beginning of the set collector's lament as far as Topps baseball card sets went. And this was not the only set it happened with. People remember the Topps card, but there was also an Alex Gordon card in the Heritage set with the 2006 Heritage was the 1957 Topps design, and I
Yeah.
believe most if not all of the Alex Gordon cards that got packed out in that set were actually the die cut destroyed cards that somehow ended up still making it into a few packs, because I have seen auctions for those cards with the cutout in the middle um, out in the wild. So there's actually a Topps and a Heritage 2006 uh, Alex Gordon rookie card that should not have been. Uh, so, like I said, this gave Topps a whole lot of publicity. People were buying a whole lot of cards, and it kind of, in an accidental sort of way, started the whole super short print chase for a lot of these rookies in future sets. But
And
yeah, go ahead.
I said in the end, you actually you are able to get a copy of it, right? I mean, you got
Yes, there is a silver lining because I believe it was in 2010. Topps put out an insert set called "Cards Your Mother Threw Out," known affectionately in the card blogging world as "Yo Mama Cards." Um, this was basically a insert set, I believe, of 150 cards that were basically a greatest hits collection of Topps cards. It had a lot of important rookies, a lot of rare cards, um, and in the case of a lot of the cards from the at least up through the 70s or 80s, were probably thrown out by many mothers at one point in time or another. But one of the cards that was included was this 2006 Alex Gordon card. Even though the only mother in the world that could possibly throw one of them out was Keith Olbermann's mom, and I think she knew better.
right.
Um, But they did a reprint of this card, and there was one version that had the front with the normal silver foil uh, that was on the original 2006 cards, and that had a back with kind of a bio on the card explaining what happened with the whole controversy with the cards being pulled. But there was a variation on that called an original back that was slightly
Yes.
harder to get. So you can get an Alex Gordon 2006 card with the original back. Uh, the main difference is the foil on the front is gold instead of silver. But if you're just looking to finish out that 2006 top set, you can buy one of those cards for probably a buck or two, and put that in there, and nobody's the wiser.
It's nice when it works out that way for
It's
set builders.
nice, yes, but if you want to get tricky, there is a legit Alex Gordon card that was packed out in 2006 cards that they did not have to pull, and that is the Alex Gordon autographed card, uh, which is a really good looking card from his technically rookie year, on card autograph, no stickers. Uh, and I actually pulled two of those that year, both from rack packs. One of them from a
Wow.
rack pack at Walmart, and another that I bought at Champion Sports Cards. Managed to get two Alex Gordon autographs, which I should probably sell one of those the way he's playing right
Yeah,
now.
right. Now's the time.
Now's
Act
the
now.
time. But yeah, that's Alex Gordon, and you can finish your 2006 top set if you want to get creative about it.
On to some non-sports news. There's a set coming out that I'm very, very excited about. For the first time, well, I guess there have been a couple Doctor Who sets, but they've been mainly attached with like a game, like a Doctor Who game, card game. But now we're actually getting some Doctor Who cards in time for Christmas. You have to swallow hard a little bit on the price. It's about $90 a box. You're going to get about 24 packs, and this is a set that is nearly 200 cards, and it covers not only the reboot, since 2005, but basically the whole 50 years of the program. The highlight is, if you buy a box, you're going to get two autographs or relics or sketch cards. In this sort of thing. I would go for the trying to build a set, but you've got cards devoted just to the companions, memorable moments. I'm sure there's going to be some Dalek cards that'll be a contender for my card of the year. I would think. As I was mentioning, there were that sort of attempt at a tops attack type thing, like a Doctor Who attack. Um, that was a few years ago, I think. Um, but this is sort of, I hope, is going to be amazing.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. Um, are you a Doctor Who fan?
Yeah, I was watching Doctor Who back in the 80s on Georgia Public Television. They had sci-fi night every Saturday night. Actually, more of a British night. They'd have British comedies earlier in the evening, and once those were done, they'd show an episode of Doctor Who, or occasionally they'd do something like Blake Seven, or what's the name of that? Um, Tripods, I think. But usually it was Doctor Who. Generally, it was the era from Pertwee to Tom Baker, with a little Peter Davison in, and I'd watch that religiously every Saturday. Love Tom Baker. When the reboot, or whatever it is, came out, the new Who
Mm-hmm.
came out, I made the mistake of watching probably the worst episode to start off on New Who, with Christopher Eccleston, the Empty Child. And now that I've rewatched or watched the first season for all the way through, that's one of my favorite episodes. But as a starter, it was not a good introduction to new Doctor Who because it's a very different episode and feel from the classic Who, which is there's some horror elements in it, but it's mostly goofy sci-fi and Doctor, acting ridiculous. The Empty Child is almost terrifying.
It is. It is a terrifying
There's
one.
this little child wearing a gas mask who's got a creepy voice and he's chasing after everyone, and if he touches you, you die. And it's very frightening and horrifying, and was not a good introduction for me. But once I heard Peter Capaldi was going to be the new Doctor, I'm like, well, I gotta get into this now because he would make an amazing Doctor. So rewatched the Eccleston's episodes. Once I saw the Doctor dances, uh, it became one of my favorite episodes of Whoever. And now I'm kind of in the middle of the first season on uh, Tenant, and
Hmm.
trying to work my way through as I can on Netflix to catch up. But love the old doctors, even the old doctors like Hartnell and Troughton. Those stories, even though they're dated, but they're fun. It's fun to watch the different character of the doctors with grouchy old grandpa with Hartnell and basically Shemp running around. I don't know how to.
He does look like Shemp. You're right. I never thought of that. You're right.
But yeah, I've always liked Doctor Who, and this set looks really interesting.
Hmm.
And it's definitely something I'd like to get a set or build a set. I'm not sure if I can deal with all the inserts.
Yes. There's, let's see, one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, five inserts sets. Um, I envision myself probably buying single packs, many single packs, rather than a whole box, but
Yeah,
or maybe some eBay.
I'd like to buy a box, but it might be more cost effective to find a set
Hmm.
when it comes out. But it looks very good, and like you said, sets before this were mostly game sets from Tops Attacks, and there's a few other sets that are UK only that I've seen that are more geared
Hmm.
toward a game element. There are a couple of older non-sports sets. I have one from the 90s. Um, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's about 100 card set, and that has a bunch of inserts with it too. But so there are a uh, few sets out there, but this is from what I've seen is the biggest uh, and really most basic pure trading card set where there's no
Hmm.
games or
Yeah.
anything involved. And depending on who is in the autographs, could be, you know, could be excellent if they get the right people signing. And hell, who wouldn't want a scarf relic?
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I'm looking for.
That would be, yes. Yeah, when I looked at the samples, I didn't see anything. They're really promoting, the newer doctors. I didn't see any Tom Baker relics, but that would be an amazing card.
Yeah.
And the date for that is December 10th, hypothetically. So
Merry
keep
Christmas.
an eye out. This leads us to our card new release calendar. Um, these are basically releases in for November. Um, we mentioned earlier Topps High Tech Baseball. Originally, the date was November 5th, but as you mentioned, I don't think I've seen anything hit anywhere yet.
Now
So,
there's been some talk on Twitter about how a lot of the high end sets have been pushed to December. I think there's two high end sets that are releasing the same day, which is causing some frustration among dealers, wondering, how is everybody going to be able to buy all this? But
Yeah.
hey, it's Christmas season, and if it doesn't sell in before Christmas, maybe it'll sell in the after Christmas sales. So
The only other baseball release coming up in the near future is 2014 Panini Classics Baseball. So lots of photoshopping going on there.
there you go.
That's November 19th. Basketball, we've got 2013-2014 Upper Deck Exquisite Basketball, which I believe is out already from 11.5. 11.19, you'll have 2014-2015 Panini Totally Certified Basketball. Very busy for football. We've got Topps Triple Threads Football, which I believe is out. Panini Limited Football, which I think is also out. Panini Totally Certified Football. I don't remember if I've seen that out there, but we got a date of 11/7, so maybe. Ultra high end, we've got Bowman Sterling Football. That's on November 19th. And somewhere in November, Upper Deck gives you SP Authentic Football, which I think is going to be heavy on the college players. I think that's really the only license they have, other than photoshopping, I guess.
Yeah, and this isn't on the calendar, but I have seen out at Walmart and Target there is, at least in our neck of the woods, there are some blasters for a football product that is SEC only. So
oh, really?
If you like SEC football, I don't know what's in it, and I'm not sure even of what the name is, but there is an Upper Deck football product that has SEC players. I'm not sure if those are Legends players or if they are current players. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's out there, and you'd think that would sell pretty good down here.
Moving on to hockey, we've got two recent releases: 2014-15 Upper Deck Hockey Series 1, the sort of typical base set,
Yep.
and
Young Guns.
yes, 2014-2015 In the Game Ultimate Hockey. Non-sports, we have 2015 Press Pass Cup Chase Racing. The Night Owl will like the upcoming Topps Wacky Packages Series 1. He always enjoys those. And as we mentioned, December 10th, or abouts, who knows, I guess, 2014 Topps Doctor Who. So now we got some question and answer.
Q&A.
Okay. This comes in from Josh D. Are there any elements of foreign card sets that you think should be incorporated into American sets? I personally, I'm really... I outside of soccer cards from Europe and sticker cards, that Panini puts out, I'm really not too familiar with many foreign sets. I've recently sort of been on the lookout for some Japanese baseball cards, in hopes of finding a sort of an odd little one card I want, which is Dan Gladden played for 1 year in 1994 for the Giants. In the Japanese league, and he has one card, I believe, and damn if I can't find anyone on earth who is selling that card. But beyond, I'm not too familiar with too many foreign sets. How about you? Do you have suggestions?
One time online I saw a Bob Horner card from when he was playing with the Yakult Swallows back in, I think, 87, the year that he got colluded out of baseball. There aren't a lot of trading card sets in other countries that are a lot different than the American style cards. I do like what Panini has done, and to an extent Topps has done in Europe with their sticker albums.
Yeah.
And especially because the World Cup sticker albums are a worldwide phenomenon. Every 4 years, everybody gets their sticker album, and people from Europe to the United States, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, every country on Earth, somebody's pasting stickers into an album. And I would like to see something in America that matched that kind of passion among collectors. If we could find that one thing that got everybody as excited as World Cup stickers in America, that would be pretty amazing. And maybe that thing is World Cup stickers.
Yeah, I mean when they they put them out, they put out the initial box and it's gone, and then
Yeah,
it's like that box is never going to be filled
that it was
for the
like
World Cup stickers.
it was like that in 2010, but I saw a whole lot more
Yeah.
stickers out this time. There's actually a Target near my work that still has a few packs of stickers, and
Oh, really?
and
Oh.
I keep looking at them, and I know if I buy them, I will not get any out of them that I need, but
Hmm.
it's still very tempting.
It's only $1.
It's only $1. All right, next question. This one is from Night Owl. If TBS never existed, how many Braves card collectors would there be? I don't know the exact answer, but I can tell you it'd be a hell of a lot less. You would not have people in Calgary, Alberta collecting Braves cards. You would not have people in Idaho collecting Braves cards.
Right.
You'd probably still have a lot of people in the Southeast, but TBS, especially in the 80s, so ubiquitous on all those cable channels. Uh, you could be a Cubs fan and watch Harry Carey sing "Take Me Out to the Ball
Hmm.
Game," or you could watch Pete and Skip try to keep their composure during a Brave slaughter in the ninth inning. And both had their positives and negatives, but there's a lot of people out there who had a lot of enjoyable nights listening to Pete and Skip and Ernie, even when the team was dreadful. And the other thing you have to understand with the Braves is we have one of the most extensive radio networks in all of professional sports. And that was put together in large part by Ernie Johnson, um, longtime announcer for the Braves and former pitcher for the Braves back in the 50s. He went around and signed up all these little radio stations throughout the Southeast to put Braves baseball on its programming. And if you go and look on the Braves website, you can see a list of all these stations that play Atlanta Braves baseball, and they've got quite a bit of coverage throughout the Southeast. So it's not just TBS, but this is uh, a regional team. But TBS sure didn't hurt, especially when you're looking at Braves fans on the West Coast.
I defer to the master on this one. So P Town Tom
P Town.
uh, writes Donruss came back this year after Panini revived Pinnacle last year. Tops already has heritage and keeps pulling up at the archives truck for second helpings of retro each year. That being said, which past set slash brand would you like to see brought back into the collecting fold? My answer, I just sort of he has a second question regarding the set Sports Flicks. I love those 3D cards, and so I wouldn't mind. I don't know who owns the Sports Flicks, the intellectual property, but I enjoyed it. I really think not that maybe 3D card technology is better, but when they did the 3D cards for opening day a few years ago, they just seemed better quality than the Sports Flicks, and I think there's definitely I don't know room for something like that.
Yeah, the lenticular cards do look nice, especially in the recent offerings. The archives has had a couple that were based on um, early Topps test issues, and those look pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I'd like to see Stadium Club stick around for a little while. I wouldn't mind seeing that even in its current incarnation, where you've got mini boxes and an autograph and a pop, because the Stadium Club set is looks really good this year, and Stadium Club is just one of those uh, brands that you know anyone who's collected since the '90s has really good feelings about. I mean, that
Hmm.
original '91 set just looked gorgeous when you compared it to everything else that came out that year. I mean, it blew everything away. Um, and they've always had a reputation for high quality, good looking photography. Um, and it would be nice to see to have that as an option. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting rid of one of the retro sets or dropping, one of the oddball sets and just throwing Stadium Club in there, just to have that one set a year that just is not too expensive, but
Hmm.
looks really just choice and high quality.
I know we talked about it last time on the podcast, but have you seen it in the wild yet? I've not.
I have not seen any Stadium Club
Hmm.
out there, but then again, I haven't really been anywhere that would have it. I haven't been to a
Right.
normal card show. I haven't been to my card shop in a while. Um,
Yeah, it
so
is hobby only,
it,
right?
it
I
yeah, it's
forgot that.
hobby only. Um, and honestly, I haven't been in many retail shops lately either. But yeah, I'm sure it'll pop up uh, soon. I'd like to get a couple of cards in hand, especially that Evan Gaddis card. Okay, next question is from Tony L. In your opinion, is there a right way or wrong way to be a baseball card blogger? And he's got a couple of follow ups on this, but I'll answer this part first. The right way to be a baseball card blogger is to have something to say and say it your way. Um, there are there's a lot of different ways. I mean, really, there's every collector has their own way of seeing the hobby, their own way of collecting. And if you want to be a baseball card blogger, just write about what you like. You know, whatever that is. If you like buying high end product and gambling and flipping, write about that. If you like that old box of 87 tops that you've had in your closet for 20 years, write about that. Just write about what you like and put the effort into it to write well and uh, keep the grammar and spelling mistakes to a minimum. Uh, but as long as you write what you like and write what you know and keep it semi-professional and readable, that's one of the
Yeah.
follow-ups is what things annoy you, which I'll talk about that in a minute. But as long as you put an effort into it and write about what you like, that's the right way to be a card blogger. Doing it just because you think you'll get a lot of hits, doing it because you want to be the king of the baseball card internet, doing it because you think you can
Or
get sponsorships or get free stuff.
yes, free
Yeah,
cards. Yeah.
that's the wrong way to do it. The right way
Right.
to do it is to just do it because you like it and put the effort into it.
Yeah, I would agree with you in sense of there's really no way to. Well, I guess there's a wrong way to do the content part of it, but my only criticism would be to doing it the wrong way would be to have I don't know, to not have a scanner, let's say,
Yeah.
or to maybe photograph the cards with a camera or something. You know what I mean? Like just technical things like that would be the wrong way to do it. But as far as your personal voice, you know, try to be as original as you can. It's getting to the point where just about every card has probably been written about. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any interesting card in the the past 30 years, um, probably been covered. So you got to find like your own little thing, um, like a set. Like I for when I first started blogging, well, I guess I still do, but I really enjoyed the handlebar mustaches from the I guess they're not handlebar, the horseshoe mustaches from the 70s and 80s. Find your little niche. Find let's say some really good blogs like Play at the Plate. Logically he collects plays at the plate cards. You know, it's trying to find your niche and being original. I think there's plenty of room for that still in card blogging.
And follow up, what do you wish you did better on your own blog? In my case, I wish I could finish things. Uh, One of
Mm-hmm.
the problems I had a few years ago is I'd have all these amazing ideas for uh, not just a single blog post, but for like a series of blog posts. And I get started and I do all this research and I scan 100 cards and I'd write about a third of the way through it and then I'd lose the scans or I'd run out of time or I just get busy in my life, or I just didn't feel like writing about that anymore, and I
Mm-hmm.
dropped too many decent ideas. And right now, if you've been reading my blog, you haven't been reading much lately because I kind of have a massive writer's block at the moment. I can't seem to put words onto the screen. But that's one thing I wish I had done better and could do better is just to take the ideas I have and follow through with them.
Yeah, I had to put like I don't know if it's a rule or I had to put a limit on the number of cards I would include in a post
Yes.
because I would run into the problem you have where it just keeps going and going. And but then sometimes I feel like my post you could read in a minute and that's it. When I could write more about it. um I wish that I guess I sort of get this out through the podcast, but like writing about new I guess new products news. I don't rip boxes. I collect individual cards. So I, that's the thing. I mean, if you want to be a popular card blogger, you need to write about news and new products. And you know, outside of Wax Heaven, I don't I don't know. Well, maybe I'm trying to think. There aren't too many blogs that are able to have like the infrastructure to write about new products outside of the media. Like Beckett
Yeah,
or Cardboard Connection.
and that's
Um,
that's a trap too because if you start buying things simply so you can write about them on your blog, uh,
mhm.
that one that gets expensive really quick, and two, that causes your collection to get just all out of whack. I've done that a
Yeah.
lot. I've seen something interesting and I've bought it and opened it or whatever, thinking that, oh, I can write a post about this, and I never do.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so now I have all this oddball junk, and I don't have a blog post. I don't have the money anymore, and you can't do
Yeah.
that. You have to collect, and then blog about what you
Th-
want to know.
there's a post I've been meaning to write, which is there's book value, and then there's like blogger value. Like the value of a card that a card blogger will spend just for the idea of possibly writing about it later, which has nothing to do with the actual, value of the card. But
And what things on other blogs annoy you? And I was kind of getting this into this earlier. Um, don't write about something just because you think it's popular or you'll think it'll get clicks. And if you're going to write, put a little bit of effort into it. I mean, people have different levels of writing skill. I understand that.
Hmm.
And not everybody is going to be a wordsmith. There's only so many night owls out there. But if you're going to have a blog and you're going to write things to throw up on the internet, you know, use proper grammar and capitalization and spell everything kind of correctly and just put the effort into it. There was a while back in the boom days, around 2008, 2009, where new blogs would pop up all the time, and some of them, people just couldn't write. So
Yeah.
if you're going to do something like that, to create a card blog, at least have the effort involved. And if you're just not a good writer, then do YouTube videos, do a podcast. There's all kinds of every collector has their own way of doing things and the best way for them to express what they're doing. If you can't write, then try something else.
I would say for me, it's just probably negativity overall. If you're writing about how something upsets you in card collecting, it sort of makes me wonder why do you do it? And I'm not saying that Tops doesn't make mistakes, Upper Deck doesn't make mistakes, or has a stupid policy, but it's like temper those negative posts with a card you really love, or a card of the week type thing where you talk about your enjoyment of the hobby rather than just, I don't know, I didn't make my money back on my box of cards, and you know
Yeah, the problem comes when it's way easier to write a negative post than a positive post. But
hmm.
if you get sucked into that, nobody wants to read that for one thing. A good rant every once in a while will get you a lot of clicks,
Right.
but if every post is a rant, it gets old quickly. So yeah, uh, and that will burn you out and ruin your enjoyment
Hmm.
of a hobby that you're supposed to love. So yeah, rant every once in a while to get some steam out, but make sure you write about what you enjoy. I've been known to be cantankerous at times, but my biggest post of the year was Allen and Ginter blaster that I wrote about that was really good.
Hmm. Yeah. The perfect blaster. Check it
The
out.
perfect blaster. So yeah, to be a good blogger, write about what you love, into it, and be you, and you'll be fine.
Okay, the Lost Collector writes, "Where have all the oddballs gone?" He doesn't add long time passing, but um, I think I know what he's talking about. I don't know. Maybe you have a different interpretation for what.
Yeah, I would guess that the
Go on.
oddballs that he's talking about are all of the food issues sets and just weird stuff that you'd find back in the 80s and 90s. Well, they're really going back into the
Yeah.
70s and 60s. Uh, Postcards like that panel you saw, cards on baseball
Yeah.
card boxes, cards on Kraft macaroni and cheese boxes, cards in Mootown snackers,
Yeah.
cards,
Call calling cards,
yeah, calling cards, yeah,
credit cards.
just all the weird nonsense that used to
Yeah.
be everywhere. Has sort of dried up in the past 10 years. I mean, I can't remember the last
Yeah.
big food related issue, except for maybe uh, out of post cereal box. And I think a lot of that is just due to the licensing costs
Hmm.
that have gone way, 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 way up. recently. I mean, we're down to an exclusive license. Tops pays a lot of money for
Yeah.
that license, and if you're, some bakery or Post cereal or you know,
I know.
yeah,
Those are so great.
if you want to just
Those
put
cards were
some
so great in the
baseball
50s and
cards
60s.
in your product to try to attract customers, um, you're probably selling that product at a pretty slim margin to begin with. If you're paying a boatload of money to Major League Baseball just to uh, put their product and give them a little more exposure on your product, that's going to kill any profit you have, and that's what it's all about ultimately. So, and there you go. But
I
yeah,
blame Michael
I
this
really
time.
think it's just due to the amount of money it costs for licensing, and especially with food products. You don't see a lot of free giveaways in food products now. Anyways, it's marketing is a lot different. You don't see toys in every cereal box now. If you're lucky, you'll see a book or some other doodad. Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Cracker Jack is horrible. Those toys they have now
yeah.
are it's
But
like just a
I
piece of
mean, it's
paper.
kind of sad to not see all that weird stuff. But then again, there are a couple of uh, oddball things that Tops is putting out with the chips and the little figures, and there's some fake Lego brick company that's got baseball players. So there's a few things out there, but I remember as a kid finding all kinds of crazy nonsense with baseball players on it, and I kind of miss those days. But yeah, that's where they've gone. Money ruins everything.
Yeah.
All right. Anonymous said, "Who is your favorite player to collect, and why is it Ron Gantz?" Okay, Anonymous, aka Junkwax Twins on Twitter. Uh, Ron Gant was pushed. Kent Herbeck is a filthy cheater. Your last World Series championship is tainted forever, and everyone knows it. And we got one in '95 anyway. And what have you done lately? So, and my favorite
Yeah,
player to
right.
collect is actually Jason Hayward. At least until he gets traded to the Cardinals.
Oh.
But so
That's funny. If you don't live in Atlanta, you don't know that Ron Gant is on a morning show,
I
um,
live in Atlanta. I didn't know
on
that.
a local Atlanta. Oh, really? If you, oh yeah, but you don't have cable, so you're allowed. During the World Series, on he must work for the Fox 5 or whatever it is. During the World Series, they would cut to commercial and they would show this commercial where it said, these players have a 30 for 30 record. Bobby Bonds, Barry Bonds, who else? I don't know. So
Conseco.
whoever the third person was, and then Ron Gant, and they're like, but only one of them will be, on Channel 5 morning AM, whatever it is. So it's always, I don't know. He's like the sports guy on
Well, good.
the early
Yeah, I
morning.
didn't know.
Yeah,
There's a whole lot of ex Braves that have jobs in Atlanta. So
yeah,
glad to see
yep,
he's still bouncing around because he was such a good player, and then he had that dumb four wheeler accident, and everything got ruined forever. But yeah, so we still love Gant.
Okay, the Chopkeeper says if you could start a new bipping trend, which player would you choose and why? So do we need to talk about what bipping
Yeah,
is for the
yeah.
uninitiated?
There's a whole lore and legend behind bipping, but the short story is a fellow card blogger, Thorzul, from Thorzul Will Rule. Bought a blaster at I think a Target or a Walmart one time, and some nefarious person had actually purchased that blaster, opened it up, stole the cards out of it, replaced the cards with old junk wax cards, and then resealed it and returned it to the store. Uh, Wherein Thorzul ended up with this unfortunate box and opened up a pack of I don't remember what the product was, but opened up this pack and got a pack full of Bip Roberts cards. And he wrote about this on a blog, and oh noes, I got bipped. So after that, it's become a tradition. If you're trading with someone, you can bip them by either including some Bip Roberts cards in there, or the other fashion is to ooh, beeping is to send a whole ton of one single card. I know I've
Hmm.
gotten a big pile of Jeremy Burnett's rookies. Someone else, I believe, got 792 Andres Galarraga cards. I don't even know how that's possible, but it's become a tradition. Um,
Yeah, stale gum is very, very much into
yes,
bipping at one time or another.
Stale Gum,
Um,
Thorzul. I believe the
I've sent a couple bippings, sure.
Yeah, I believe the gentleman who asked about Ron Gant has sent me quite a few Ron Gant cards himself.
Yeah,
Uh, what player would I choose?
just on sheer amount of cards that I have, definitely 89 Donruss Tom Gordon rookies. I have so many of those that I've been sent through trades because I mean it's a nice rated rookie, but I mean I have about he's probably 50 over the years of getting Royals cards when I lived in Kansas. Do a Flash Gordon bipping, a flasher. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what player, because bipping has sort of transcended Bip Roberts at this point.
Yeah,
It's basically whatever
yeah.
you can you can send. Need to look at it from a different angle, and
Yeah, if the point is just to send a lot of horrible
exactly.
comments, then send like a Yuneski Betancourt or something.
I don't know. Maybe start a new tradition, like sending the absolute most ridiculous Mojo hit card that you have no interest, uh,
Yeah.
no interest in, and see how far it goes. You know, someone
Hmm.
sends you triple threads autograph relic card of some dude you've never heard of before, and just send that around. See how far it can go, and be regifted. All right. Next question is from Marcus. Pinnacle was my favorite brand as a kid. What were the best, worst years of Pinnacle? Um, for those who aren't familiar, Pinnacle was the higher end version of Score baseball cards. They popped up around the same time that everybody else started popping up with their high end cards around 91, 92. Um, I am fond of the 1992 set simply because I like the black borders. The backs are very nice. Uh, Pinnacle is one of those brands that just kind of got lost in the shuffle. I mean, between the SPs and the Stadium Clubs and the Fleer Ultras and the Leafs, uh, there weren't any real standout years for Pinnacle, and I can't really think of any terrible years for Pinnacle either. 90, I don't know, maybe 94 and 95 simply because they kind of fell behind everybody else as everyone's high end cards just got more and more ridiculous. But I like the early Pinnacle designs with the black borders. They were kind of slick looking. Looked like a
Yeah, I was at a total loss to what Pinnacle cards look like towards the end of the '90s. And at when I so I did a little research and took a look. And at first, I really disliked the. There's a year '96, I think, where they have like a
yeah the
triangle, like a
big
pyramid in the
foil
bottom.
triangle cards, and
Yeah,
I've got a ton of those, and they look really odd in person.
yeah,
I don't want to say I hate them because
no, yeah. But the more I think about it, it's sort of like I don't know, like there's sort of like some kind of symmetry there where it's like that's sort of the pinnacle of the triangle. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, it's
Little.
they're really awkward in person,
Yeah,
especially when some of the
and
designs
so
are
it's a little.
vertical and there's some horizontal cards mixed in. Uh, but the backs look kind of cool. I seem to remember they had the team name was actually a carved bat uh, that was carved in the name of the team. So it's just an odd, quirky set, and it's so goofy that it's kind of endearing.
Thanks for listening to the Trading Card Preservation Society, and we'll be back again with a new episode in a few weeks.